as a firstborn, obviously you take on so much. But I feel like because I took on so much, I didn't have the space to actually say how I felt about things or what I wanted for myself. And I think a lot of firstborns tend to people please quite a bit.
Hi, I'm Isaac.
And I'm Llewellyn.
Welcome to our gestation.
If you like meaningful, deep, authentic conversations, then this is the place for you.
No filters.
No small talk, just real gist.
Let's get into it. Okay. Ready? Oh, okay. What is one non-negotiable you want to instill in Kiara?
Can I have a few? Can I have a few?
One non-negotiable in our first one.
To always respect herself. So that's a non-negotiable, not even for her facing the world, but for her facing herself, I guess.
So to always respect herself, not necessarily be respectful, but to respect herself.
Yeah.
What does that look like in practice?
It looks like her being mindful of everything we've instilled in her. And we won't always be right about things, but I guess in her being mindful of it, it's her considering who she is with regards to it and seeing how best to implement the best versions of what we've instilled in her. So it will evolve, of course, but I think she needs to take herself into consideration, the stage of life where she's at and where she's trying to be, and marry that with what we've implemented from the jump. That's probably, yeah. Because I don't know, I feel like if there's one thing that I'd want her to do better than me, I guess it's that. Because there are so many instances where I feel like I could have respected myself better.
I think for me, if I was going to answer the question, it would be just to be audacious.
Okay.
To always try.
What does that look like?
It just looks like trying everything. Not being afraid of failure, not being afraid of disappointing anyone, but just going for it. Like, if she wants to try horse riding, just try horse riding. She wants to try and learn Mandarin, learn it. She wants to try painting, like realism. No matter how unrealistic it seems, just having the audacity to try it. And like, not fear and failure. I think that's the biggest thing, because until she unlocks that, there'll be a lot of things that she could be amazing at, but she wouldn't know because she's never tried it for fear of disappointing us. So,
do you think we would give her the space? Because you even just said with fear of disappointing.
Yeah, and I think that's something that we need to work on as parents. I guess just giving her the freedom. But that's why, if you've noticed recently, well, not recently, from last year, that we don't say, when she comes to show us something she's done, it's not like, oh wow, amazing, I'm so proud. It's more like, how do you feel about it?
Yeah.
Are you proud of yourself?
And I guess it goes back to her respecting herself, because then she'll respect her opinion and stuff.
And it's working, because I remember, what was it? She said she started dipping her croissants in milk. I know.
That's
the
such a nice
mess that she makes. And I was like, why are you doing that? She said, because I like it. And I said, yeah, that's disgusting. She said, well, to you.
Yeah.
I like it. And I said, you know what, Fairs. Fairs. If you like it, then I love it.
Wait, in the moment where you actually like Fairs, or?
It took me a second.
Because I know you.
Yeah.
So what did you say at first?
At first I was taken aback because it wasn't making a mess. It was very annoyed by the fact that she was able to articulate what to you. I like it. I said, okay, cool. The reason I asked that is because obviously you're a firstborn, she's our firstborn. So do you reckon similarity is there in that respect?
Similarity now, but I wouldn't say it was always like that.
Okay.
So as a firstborn, obviously you take on so much. But I feel like because I took on so much, I didn't have the space to actually say how I felt about things or what I wanted for myself. I was almost following instructions. And I feel like we do that a bit less with her. So she's got a different firstborn experience. And I guess with, her little sisters, maybe now she's getting a bit more of the experience that I had.
Yeah.
But I would say initially, when she only had one little sister, of course she was her firstborn, But maybe she had it a bit easy. I don't think I've had it easy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think my mom was great in terms of like giving me everything I wanted. But I think when my siblings came into the picture, it was like you can have everything you want, but you do realize the responsibility you're carrying. You do realize you're gonna have to go and pick up your brother. Because I remember going to pick up my brother from the nannies. I think I was 9. Yeah. And you see that Clapham Junction road, I would walk it or sometimes take my rollerblades. That was my favorite thing to do because then I'd take my rollerblades and then I'd have the push set.
Push set?
Yeah. Yeah. He was what, like 1, 2 when he was going to the childminder?
Oh, what's the worker?
Yeah, and she was working. So I'd go and pick him up after school around like 5, 6. I'd even make it a thing with my friends.
All of you would go pick him up?
Yeah. It used to be me, Charlotte. I'd be like, say what, we're going to pick up Warren, yeah? She's like, yeah. And we'd be skating. Skating is the lifestyle. But yeah, so I would say the responsibility didn't quite allow me to just be like, actually today I just want to go to the park prom. Or this is how I like things, the way you said that Kiara could tell you, oh, maybe that's not how you like it, but this is how I like it. I don't think I had too much space to do that.
So am I detecting a tinge of regret? Or because the way I look at it, obviously in my position as a middle child, having a firstborn sister, pretty much raised me to a degree. There are certain capabilities that you now have as a result of the fact that that was your experience, that I benefit from, our children benefit from, our marriage benefits from, your friends benefit from, your siblings, your mum, your entire ecosystem benefits from due to the experiences that you had. But I'm hearing you speak about it now and it feels almost like I wish I had more space to be with my friends and chill, because I'm saying that's why we asked the question, what is that one thing you want to instill in Kiara? Because these are amazing qualities that you're describing. Do not think that by us depriving her of that responsibility, she will then have the capabilities that you do.
I think she would, but I think what we forget as human beings is that trauma creates, I guess, good coping mechanisms. And yes, they're capabilities, but a lot of the times, depending on the perspective you see it from, it's a coping mechanism, right? It's just an effective one because it helps everyone around you. But I'll speak about the side of the coin that people don't speak about. It does create people pleasers. And I think a lot of firstborns tend to people please quite a bit. So for me, what it looks like putting everyone's wants and needs before mine. And this is why I said what I want to instill in Kiara is respect for herself. Because I guess when you start respecting your choices, your wants, your needs, you're not too mindful about other people. And I think that can hinder... that can hinder a lot for you growing up when all you're thinking about is how others are doing. And I guess meeting you has changed that a little bit because I get to just be, and I get to
let someone take care of you.
Yeah, I get to do that more. But then think about combining being a firstborn, being a mum, being a wife. Yeah, you're still responsible again for other things. It's just different things, right? So yeah, when you're talking about tinge of regret, it's not regret. It's more so if I was to relive my youth or if I was to live it through Kiara, what would I like to see? So I'd still like to see the capabilities and her being able to display the things that I displayed, but less traumatically, I guess, is what I'm saying.
It's interesting because if you knew that the only way to build that capability or capacity was by virtue of going through the traumatic experiences, would it be worth it in the end?
That's a difficult question because that's it's a difficult question because it's me sending my mind in two and thinking about
the emotional, the practical.
Yes, and also witnessing what my daughter would go through.
Yeah.
I think that's the part I'm trying to detach myself from. Yeah. So if I knew that I didn't have to witness her going through, the lonely nights or the days where she goes to her room, the way I did, and she cries about certain things because she doesn't feel understood, and because everyone is sort of rating the capabilities aspect of being a firstborn, then I'd say no, because I don't want to witness that. I guess I'd be reliving my own trauma, and I don't want to do that for her. But if I knew that I wouldn't, like, if there was a way for God to not make me witness it and to give her those capabilities, yeah, I'd give them to her. So it's a bit of a yes and no. Yeah, because I do think that firstborn do cope very well in today's world
due to what they had to endure.
due to what they had to endure.
Yeah.
And I guess that's how you build the capacity.
Exactly. Because myself being a middle child, having my older sister basically take on a lot of the responsibility of our household, has given me a certain lax attitude. I'd say. I don't go for it with the same urgency as you do. No, honestly, if you want to learn productivity, get with someone as a first one, I'd say, because.
But don't you think I'm chasing you all the time?
To a large extent, yeah.
Like, when you see me, do you see your big sister, or do you see like your mom? Or
Sometimes, and not in that you mother me, in that like you don't sit down. Okay. So where there's an opportunity, let's say you have a block in the day where we can actually spend time and sit down and rest. You're looking, okay, the laundry, okay, this, okay, that, okay, I should start then, okay, I shouldn't go to Sainsbury's, I shouldn't go to work, I'm like, you can chill, you know, these things will get done eventually.
But will they?
Yes.
Why? Who?
Someone. The fairies.
No. See, but that's the thing. I think that's the hard part.
Or we can order in on those days. Like, it's not that deep. Like, it doesn't have to be. Well, I guess we balance each other out in that way.
Yeah.
And I think that's what I'm talking about, because I'm looking at our daughters. Kiara is similar to you. She starts getting her. When she wants to get ready for school, she gets up her few miles. She gets her uniform out. She lays it around the bed. She has her way that she does her things. Shy doesn't give a damn. She just bundles through because she knows.
She's a bit young.
I give some things to age, and I also give some things to the hierarchy in terms of their birth order. Because even in the way that they eat their food, Kiara eats her food in a certain way. Shy would just eat as her heart desires.
But she doesn't have to clean.
Yeah.
But Kiara's at the age where we'll be like, can you pick that up after Shy? Yeah, did you see what she dropped? Oh, can you see her mouth?
Even that, if they're at the table together, Kiara's watches Shy more than she's eating her own food.
Of course. It's inherent.
So that's no longer us. That's no longer us giving her the responsibility of looking after her sibling. That's just naturally by virtue of the position that she holds in the household. Something that she's picking up. So maybe it doesn't necessarily have to be trauma. Maybe just by virtue of your positioning in the family, you will pick up certain things, and those things will give you certain characteristic traits.
So I know this is like a bit off topic, but like, so would you say a firstborn in a rich household and a firstborn in a household that's like not that well off are the same?
Probably not.
Like, would the firstborn in a rich household watch how their sibling is eating?
Possibly.
Really?
Possibly.
What if there's someone to pick up after them? Okay. Or like there's a nanny, or there's a cook, or there's a clean?
I think to answer that question depends on the degree to which things have been outsourced in the family. Okay. So if, for instance, in our house, we make the kids breakfast and their meals. If at a certain age you say, okay, Kiara, start making breakfast for yourself and for your sibling, that's her doing that, right? But let's say we could afford a chef.
Do you see what I mean?
So that she wouldn't necessarily have that capability. Well, maybe then she'd be doing different things, like she'd be doing her homework with her. Yeah. Or maybe she'd be helping her pick her up.
But then maybe there would be a tutor. So I guess what I'm trying to say, because when I'm looking at Kiara's experience and I'm looking at my experience, I'm looking at the fact that, for instance, I had to go and pick up my brother from school.
Because mum was working.
Yeah, but it's because mum was working, and it's because mum had to work due to the position that we were in. I'm not saying, we were the poorest family, but we weren't the richest. So because of that, there needed to be, she could have hired a nanny, but actually financially, was that possible? Probably not. Yeah. So then you give responsibility quite early on.
Yeah. To circumstances.
Yeah.
But I do still feel like, because in my context, my sister didn't necessarily have to wash me or come pick me up from school or anything like that. But she still definitely took ownership of certain aspects of my life. Okay. Like, have you done your homework? No one's chasing her to ask me that, but she just felt the need to. or you haven't brushed your hair, or
When do you think that stopped?
This still when I got married, when I moved out of the house, man. Like honestly, every
Sorry, Elizabeth.
even when I traveled, even when obviously we did a lot of trips in 2022. Like she was expecting me to be there and check in. Okay, so I'm going to the airport now. My flight's at this time. I'm checked into my apartment, like all that stuff. And I'm like, I'm a big man. I ain't got to deal with that. I appreciate that, and I'll let her know when I get there. But all of that stuff before, she checked my flight for me and do all this stuff. I can do it myself. You see what I mean? And it's only, I remember a very distinct experience that I had with her. I was like 14 and I didn't know how like the underground works. Yeah. And I was like, sis, what train am I getting to get to Oxford Street? You just figure it out. I had to figure it out myself. And I was like,
yeah. Like, it's so drastic.
What do you mean figure it out? Like, do you want to get lost?
And now you're almost telling her, leave me alone.
Exactly. Now I'm like, leave it. But it's because of the position that she took up in my life.
And do you think you actually grew those capabilities? Or do you think marrying a firstborn actually got you there?
I think I grew to a degree before you, but being with you has exponentially increased the speed with which I've had to grow since then. And I think...
So you don't think that like she's passed the relay to me?
Yeah, there was a little gap in between where I was doing it myself. When she was in Nigeria and I was living by myself here, before I met you, when I was learning how to date, when I was learning how to manage a household and pay bills and navigate corporate. But yeah, definitely since meeting yourself and since becoming carers, that like there's a lot of things that I had to pick up. There's no excuse. There's no one chasing me. There's no one like giving me the answers. I have to think on my feet. Okay.
I guess because we do things quite differently. Because think about it, it's me being a firstborn, but not only being a firstborn. Before meeting you, being a single mum. So I do feel like there's a lot of independence.
Absolutely.
In how I did.
Complete independence.
Yeah. But then I guess maybe like the gap. How did we mend the gap? And like...
You had a very difficult conversation. We just did, I guess.
No,
I remember Canning Town Station. Do you remember that conversation? You said...
You know when you say something and you can just...
Yeah, right back there. That conversation was difficult. That was one of the make or break conversations that we had. Like, I like you. I see a future here. However, as you know, I am a package deal. I'm not trying to put any pressure on you. I have been looking after the child by myself. However,
which I can do.
Which I can do. If you do want to be with me, are you able and willing to be able to give the same effort that I'm going to be given? There's a lot for me to think about. I only ever had to look after myself. Do you know what I mean? I only ever had to worry about how far my money stretched for me, what trainers I wanted to buy, what holiday I wanted to go on. Like, and now I'm thinking about providing for two other people besides for me, and thinking about structuring her day and
when I asked
her
you
future.
That question, what was the first thing?
Alarm bells. I'll be so real, I was scared. And I didn't want to commit to anything in that moment. But walking away from you, getting on the train back to Dagenham, I was like, okay, she's not making me do anything today. Like, I don't have to pick up everything that she's carrying now. I can still like take this. And that's one thing I have to commend you for. You let me pick up responsibility at my own pace. So I remember it was started with taking her to school. And then from taking her to school, it was picking her up.
Yeah, nursery.
Yeah. Doing her homework with her. And then there's the morning routine. And then there's the night routine. And then you're out, and before you knew it, I'm doing everything now. Like, I don't need you to get her through the entire day. You see what I mean? But it's because I didn't feel the pressure of, okay.
But do you know that was really hard for me? Like, to not give you pressure. Like, yeah, that's the thing. I guess sometimes you want something so much that you almost pave the way for the person. But I'm asking you this because I'm wondering if that's something you felt, that it was like paving the way or not.
No, it felt like you were giving me space.
Yeah.
It didn't feel like, because you made it seem and you articulated that I have been doing this, and whether or not you're here, I'm going to keep doing this. So I'm more inviting you to go on this journey with me. And the degree to which you want to be involved, you can be. But I'm not going to impose anything on you. And that kind of gave me the space and the freedom to, like, at my own pace, pick up those.
But you see, when I was talking about coping mechanism, this is what I mean. Like, as a firstborn, you'd say that. And you'd say that because you've never been helped and no one has ever been there for you. So because of that, you're almost scared to scare the person off. And you're kind of like, oh, you see me being a firstborn? Oh, it's so natural. Like, I can do that. But deep down, I think what I wasn't showing was I want to be relieved. Like, honestly, if somebody could take this from me and allow me freedom, then I'd be happy. So it's almost like masked, right? There's that aspect of things you don't always communicate.
But ironically, that's what ended up getting you there.
Yeah.
Because if you'd said, cool, you gotta be a dad, like, from tomorrow, I'd have been like, yeah.
So do you think a lot of people say that and that's what doesn't get them then?
Maybe. I've had enough conversations with people in that position to know or to speak the relatively on the topic, but I think that would probably scare a lot of men. Like, cool, now you gotta be a dad. Okay, so you've spoken quite a bit about...
Are you saying I speak too much?
No. But just in terms of this passionate topic, this topic you're so passionate about. Clearly, this is your reality. I understand it. Exactly. So how can me, or how have I, or helped you to kind of regain or find your softness? How can we support you in the day-to-day so you don't feel like you have to carry the weight of the world on your shoulders?
I guess being preemptive. So that's the top one for me. I don't want to have to think about it.
Initiative.
Yes. Yeah, but that preemption is also like it's tied into initiative, but it's almost like studying me so much so that your brain tricks you into thinking the thing before me. So thinking before me, before you even take the initiative, because I guess the initiative piece is the action, right? I'm talking about how do you come to think about what I think about, and how do you come to worry about what I worry about before I worry about it. So I think before any human being gets to the sense of worry, they must have thought about something for a while.
There's a central reality that's in their mind.
So it's almost stopping me before I get to that point of worry and before I take action. And that looks like I said, analyzing my day-to-day, what I go through. And I think you've done that quite well, you know, even in terms of like my patterns, looking at, okay, she is someone that doesn't really sleep much. So I can't afford to just sleep. Because if I do, in the 2 hours that I do sleep, she's probably she's probably even done DIY and built a whole wardrobe kind of thing.
And if I want you to rest, I have to do it before you.
Yeah, you have to just get on it for me. So I guess that's you now working and building the capability.
Yeah, I'm back to it full circle.
Yeah, that's what I see. And I guess for our daughter, it's almost the same. Us as parents, just being responsible for our part and our share of being parents, as much as we can. And obviously, I don't blame, you know, the parents we've come from. They've come a long way, you know, even leaving their respective countries and coming to England and trying to make something of themselves. It must have been easy, because I think a lot of the context we see are people from immigrant families being firstborn daughters or firstborn sons. And that's the hardest piece. So I guess for us building up the next generation, you can be a firstborn, but I want the connotation of firstborn to be a bit more positive. Yeah. Like, you get to be a firstborn, not you're subjected to be.
To force into this position.
Yeah. That's how you could help me. No.
What answer or moment today changed how you see someone in this room?
Ooh. I guess when I'm looking at you, I didn't realize how much you're aware of what it is that I go through or that Kiara goes through as a firstborn. I tend to think that, you know, you're just the middleborn. Got lucky and who doesn't quite analyze the people around him. It just reminds me how emotionally in tune you are with us. So yeah, it just changes the idea of you just being aware. Yeah. Just you being
I was going to answer a question. I'd say I didn't know that it took that much out of you to give you the space to be a dad and a husband. Like, I thought it was just something he seriously did that you just been expecting, or that we trusted that, yeah, he's going to pick up and it'll be, and he realized it was like a scary experience for you. I'm glad ultimately it worked out. But
I'm telling you, but sometimes you just have to place the bet.
yeah. I think a lot of people aren't ready or willing to place the bet, I guess, because people are looking at time, biological clocks, and just the fear of being disappointed, I guess. But that's what love is.
Yeah.
You roll the dice in the hopes that you get.
You roll the dice and ask the real questions.
So
yeah.
right. So thanks for joining us in the gist session. If you have enjoyed what we've seen or heard, then be sure to get the games and you can have these conversations yourselves and delve into these topics.
Yeah.
Love.
And if you're a firstborn daughter like me, please share your experience. It would be so lovely to hear, what it is that you do to become softer, or who in your life actually helps you become a softer person. So yeah, just make sure to comment, reach out to us everywhere, just the game.
Literally.
And
We do our best to get back to you.
yeah. So like,
Comment
and subscribe.
See you in the next session.